We have another race weekend among us, folks, and this time we are racing in Mexico City. And we have Max Verstappen claiming that he will not be a support driver for Sergio Perez, who is racing in his home Grand Prix. We have Lewis Hamilton, who has come out to say that he wants a multi year deal with Mercedes and that he doesn't want to go anywhere else for the rest of his F1 career. We have Red Bull finally getting a punishment for going over the cap in 2021. And Alonso and Alpine win an appeal. Let's get right into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Formula One Digest. I'm your host, Tyson De Silva, and I'm reacting to Max Verstappen making a crazy claim that he is not going to be supporting Sergio Perez in the Mexico Grand Prix. And folks, this is a really interesting storyline that's coming out of Mexico because ever since Max won the championship at Suzuka and ever since the team won the Constructors' Championship in Texas, a lot of people were going to speculate that Max was going to be the support driver and will do everything in his power to help Sergio Perez win his home Grand Prix. We've seen it before where Sergio has been the guy to help Max win, so we thought maybe we might just see Max, kind of put that all aside to help Sergio, but he's claiming that that is not the case. He's not going to be gifting Sergio anything, but he did compliment him by saying that he is a very competent and a skilled driver, and he's sure that he will do fine. And Sergio Perez even backed this up by saying that he doesn't want any gifts from Max. He wants to win it on the racetrack. I think this is going to be a really interesting race for Red Bull. This is a track where they're favored to win because of that long straight, and it is a track that favors cars that do well on the straight. So we can definitely expect to see Red Bull be doing really well on this track. But as for Sergio, I think that he really needs to bring his A game because that's what Max has been on as of late, and he really. It really would be awesome to see him win his home Grand Prix. We saw what happened last year when he got P3. I can only imagine how crazy this place is going to go if he wins the race. Hopefully, at some point, if it's needed, Red Bull can use their team orders on Max. I'm a Max Verstappen fan myself, but I'm all in on Sergio Perez for this weekend. Moving on, we're going to be talking about Lewis Hamilton, guys, and he's the guy who was rumored to have considered retirement after what happened last year, but it's come out that he wants a multi-year deal from Mercedes to continue until at least 2025. This is probably one of the most interesting storylines of 2022 in F1 because a lot of people thought that Lewis was going to hang up the gloves and hang up his racing shoes and just give up after what happened to him last year, but he's come back. He's had a down year, but now he's saying that he still wants to compete. He wants to be in F1. He wants to be present for the evolution of F1, and I gotta say, I'm all here for it. I think he brings a lot to this sport. He's a great ambassador for the sport in general, and I think that having him still there to compete against all these up-and-coming racers, it's going to be really fun to watch that happen and unfold in front of our eyes. He's still chasing his 8th championship to break the seal of Schumacher's record that he shares with him. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens there because we don't know if Mercedes is going to want Lewis for that long. I'm sure that they're going to be loyal, but at some point, they might want to move on and bring in another driver to pair alongside with George Russell. And maybe they're going to want to start favoring George Russell in these races because he is the future of Mercedes. Of course, going back to Red Bull, as we reported earlier, Red Bull had been accused of going over the cap in 2021, and it was confirmed that they did, and now they have been charged $7 million as a punishment by the FIA. I believe along with 10% off in their aerodynamics testing. And Christian Horner had some very interesting things to say after this happened. He claimed that this is going to have a major impact on their car for next year and the future of their cars. I think we're going to have to wait until we see what Red Bull can pull out of the bag next year, because right now they're at the top of their game. They're really strong right now. If they have a much smaller cap than other teams, it's probably going to show. And we're going to have to see what the long-term effects of this are. Right now, it doesn't seem like it's going to be that major because these teams make hundreds and millions of dollars at these events and over the year. So we're just going to have to see what Red Bull does to do it. But it doesn't look like Christian Horner is 100% happy with the punishment. But there's not really much he can do because his team did go over the budget. And now they need to suffer the consequences for it. So we'll see what this does for other teams as they're going to look to take the championship away from Red Bull and Max Verstappen heading into the 2023 season. Of course, we recently finished racing in the U.S. Grand Prix, and we had Fernando Alonso, who had an outstanding race. And it was really unfortunate because after the race, he was given a 30-second penalty for driving a dangerous car. And Alpine and Alonso went to go and try and appeal to it, stating that he does not deserve that penalty. And it has come out that Alonso and Alpine have won the appeal. And I think this is a really good sign for the future of F1 because a lot has been put into question as to what the future of the sport is going to look like. If they're correcting these mistakes that they're making, it puts F1 in a much better place for the future because in my personal opinion, and I'm sure in the opinions of many F1 fans, Fernando Alonso really did not deserve to get that 30-second penalty. You know, he continued the race and he did so well. So, you know, I thought it was a very unfair penalty. So we're going to have to see what happens for the next kind of case that comes out of this. But for now, I think we can all just be happy that Fernando and Alpine got away with this one with that P7. I'm happy because he's on my fantasy for that weekend, so I get those points back. So we're going to be following all of that and more as we head into Mexico. Hopefully he can pull a bit of magic there as well. He's been really good this year. And if you're an Aston Martin fan, you have a lot to look forward to if they can develop the right car. If you guys have made it this far, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys in the next one.